Greetings, gamers. This is Game Design Game, Episode 0. Are you a fan of games, board games, role-playing games, LARPs, video games? Have you ever wondered what it takes to make them? Game Design Game is going to be about watching me make games, watching the creative process in action, possibly even participating in it yourselves in some way or another. This channel will also become a game that you can play while you watch. Game Design Game. There are a lot of different types of games, and I'm a fan of them all. Video games, role-playing games, LARPs, board games, card games, party games. We're going to explore all of those here at some point. Each video will feature a different part of the creative process and a different game or a different aspect of a game. My name is Matt, and I'm going to be your Game Design Game host. A little bit about me. I have been making video games for almost 30 years professionally, and making games has been a hobby of mine since junior high. My inspiration for this channel are videos that I love to watch and shows about crafting and the process, such as baking shows, knife making, glass blowing, movie makeup. All of those really interest me, and I haven't seen one about game making. And I think in part that's because people who make games seriously are not wanting to show them off until they're ready to release to the public. I make games for myself and my friends, and so I don't mind showing you games I've already made or games I'm in the process of making, whether or not I intend to turn them into a product later. I hope you'll check out some more of my videos. If you stick with me and if you follow, you will see videos about making role-playing games, live-action role-playing games called LARPs, board games, and I'll even tell you a little bit about the process of making video games. So what does it mean to be a game designer? There's a lot of different levels of game design, a lot of different depths or intensities. Many people who play games a lot start to find that they need to tweak them or adjust them a little bit in order to get the most fun out of them. As an easy example, anyone who's played Monopoly has probably heard about the free parking rule. You land on free parking, you get some of the money that's been set aside during the course of play. That wasn't an official rule, and even now I believe it is just an official, unofficial rule that many people play with because it fixes a problem with the game and makes things more fun. Another approach to game design is what I call imitating or mix and match, and that's where you take features from one game and pull them into a different game. This is more common in role-playing games where there's a rule in one system but you want to play in a different system. There are often ways that you can pull in that special rule, modify it slightly, and make it work with the game that you're running. There's also what's called modding or homebrew rules. So modding is more often reserved for video games where there's an official process to add new content to an existing game. And homebrew is more commonly talked about in role-playing games where the rules have been added or changed significantly enough that strangers who haven't played with your group before might not have heard of these rules before, but you use them all the time. And then finally, there is the full design process where you start with almost nothing, just an idea, and you want to put it together and make it, at a minimum, into a prototype that you can play with friends or family. And if you're serious about it, you can turn it into a product. No matter what type of game you're making, there's a little bit of a process or phases that people go through. This will vary quite a bit depending on the scope of the game and the formality. Certainly a company making board games would go through a much more rigorous process than what I'm going to outline. This is what I would call an informal process for a hobby game designer like myself. The first phase is called exploration, and that is really just figuring out what you want to do. It's perhaps solidifying a theme or a specific rule that you want to build the game around. After the exploration phase, you move into some sort of prototyping where you jot down some rules, possibly make a few temporary playing pieces that you can use to test out how the game plays, and then you'll get it to the point where it's got enough parts and pieces that you could play it with someone else, usually some friends of yours, but you can play them with family, you can play them solo by yourself, though you may not learn as much that way. And that brings you into the refinement process, where after you've actually played the game, you start to learn some of the issues in your initial prototype, things that maybe you didn't consider or that somebody else looking at it suddenly discovers. And so refinement is about improving those initial rules, filling in the holes, maybe adding some more options to make the game a little more playable, a little more stable, a little more fun. Whatever your reasons, refinement is between having a game that you can sort of play and having a game that's ready for production. Production is the final part of game development, which is where you would take a game that you've been playing with, a prototype, no matter how much you've refined it, to turn it into a product, you would need art, you would need physical pieces, and if you can get it all packaged and put together, you'll need a way to distribute it, and that's part of the production process. Finally, in this channel, you'll be able to play the game design game. That is to say, this channel itself will be a game, and we're going to develop it by applying the process I just described, starting with exploration. So, to make the game design game, I'm going to follow my own process, and you're going to watch along as I put together the first bit of this game. So, let's call this the game design game. Exploration phase. So we want to score each episode. We want a long-term score that does not require watching every episode. Add new scoring options every episode. That's it for now. That's the concept, and we can refine this as we go, but I'm going to go into a prototype, and we're going to come up with the first rule. So, the first rule I can think of is going to be called keyword rule. Pick a word, estimate how many times I say that word during the episode. So, that's the core idea, but I can already see a few ways that this could break. Oh, your score equals your estimate. So, easiest way to break this is by just picking a big number and estimating wrong. So, if your estimate is too high, score 0. So it's okay to estimate too low, but you can't guess too high. What else? Word size at least 4 letters, such as game. And that is to avoid counting words like and or which may happen a lot, but aren't very interesting to score. So for this episode, game is actually probably a good choice, but there might be a better one, who knows. We may expand on this rule later. I can see ways to make it more interesting, but we'll start with this very simple rule for now. And I am also going to make a bonus rule. And just to make sure that the episode rules and bonus rules don't get too interwoven, I'm going to letter it with A. So this is going to be the hello rule. So this is basically going to apply to a bonus for the first 3 people who use my greeting in chat per episode. So it's sort of like the saying, hey, I'm first, but in this case, it's first who actually watched at least the first 5 seconds of the video to get the word that I say, post it in chat. First 3 people get a bonus. Once 3 people have said the word, don't feel like you need to post it, you're not going to get anything for it. And so each of them get +1 point for now. We might refine this later, but it's a little bonus that can help a person get a little bit more out of their score. So I think that's all we need for episode 0. This is our prototype of game design game. Now to create a summary page. Rules so far, and I will update this as we come up with more rules. So, rule 1, keyword bonus A. Hello. Not going to put all the details in here because that would break the point of a summary. And so the next piece I want to create is how to report your score. Let's change this to another content slide. So, reporting your score in comments. So, you can post the hello rule separately or first to get in first 3 responders. So that would be a normal chat, just use my greeting word. And then you can come back later and then report your score in the form of as something along the lines of rule number and detail. So the example of this would be rule 1 keyword game. On the next line, a score, and you report the number. So you could say score equals 5. I'm sure I said it at least 5 times. And if by the time you've done this, you probably will be able to identify if you're in the top 3 people for the hello rule. So you can report bonuses. We'll call it bonus number, but they are letters. So in this case, you could say bonus A +1. And then you can report a total score something along these lines. So, rule 1, keyword game, score 5, bonus A +1. Often, if you don't earn a bonus, just leave that out. And then total score, again, you can leave that out if you're just using a single rule. And that's it. And then that records your score, and obviously first ones to post the best scores will get more credit than people who post them later. Final note on the score reporting is edited entries are voided. Make a new entry to rescore yourself. So this is to avoid the case where someone puts in a score that's too high to try and get it in there first, realizes that they've guessed too high, and then goes in and changes it to a low number, or vice versa. They guess too low and they want to put in a better number. So if the comment is in any way edited, it's treated as not valid anymore, but you can enter in a new entry to effectively replace your other one. So in cases where you want to report a better score, just report it as a new entry. That's fine. As for why you would want to play and why you would want to score, well, for now, it's mostly for yourself. Maybe you'll find some fun in it. Someday there will be hypothetical rewards. I don't know what those will be yet. Maybe we'll explore that as part of this channel. That's all I wanted to say in the intro. Next time, I'm going to give a little bit of introduction to board games and show a game I made for some friends at work that I call Agendas. A hidden role game using cards, sitting around a table with a large number of friends. Thank you for joining me in Game Design Game. I hope this idea is appealing to you, and if it is, please feel free to subscribe. I'll also include a link to Patreon below in case you want to really encourage me. And other than that, I will see you next time in Game Design Game.